Alrighty, how's everybody doing? So we're going to start our next unit. This is unit 12. This is about decimals and fractions and how they're kind of related. So there's two big ideas that are going to pop up over and over again during this really quick unit. And those are these two words. One's called a tenth and one's called a hundredth. So we're going to look at what tenths are, and we're going to look at what hundredths are. If you look at these two pictures, you can see that this first shape has been split into 10 sections, okay? So it's a tenth, just like a fraction. You'd write that as a fraction. You could write that as 1/10, this one. It would look like that, okay? This one over here is 100 pieces and 1 out of 100. You would write that as 1/100th, okay? So the way that would look with a decimal point would be this. That's 1/10. Here's how you can remember it. If you put a 0 there, it looks like a 10, right? This 100, you would write it as 0.01, 1/100th. It looks a little different. Probably you'd think this should be that and that should be that, but this is how you write 1/10. This is how you write 1/100th. With a tenth, it's just 0.1. With a 100th, it's 0.01, okay? So anytime you have the numbers showing up, anytime you have two place values here, to the right of the decimal, that's going to be 100th place. If it has only 1 point to the right of the decimal, it's tenths. If you wrote it this way, 0.10 is actually 10 hundredths. This is 1/10. This is 10 hundredths. This is 1/100th. Okay? So keep that in mind as we go through these lessons. That's what it's all about, yo. Okay. I'm just going to use the book for some of this because it helps explain. So this says, according to a survey, 7 out of 10 pet owners have a dog. Use a drawing to show this relationship. Solve the problem any way you choose. All right, well, I think we should. Let's draw a picture. I'll try this in pencil and see if it works. So if I drew a box, tenths, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. Haha, tenths. Color in 7. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Up to there. Okay. So 7 out of 10. And you could say 7 out of 10 like that. That equals 7/10. Or if you wrote it as a decimal, remember tenths only have one place to the right. You would write it like that. 0.7. That's 7/10. Okay. This part that isn't shaded would be 3/10. Okay. All right. Let's check this other stuff out. On Kelsey Street, 6 out of 10 houses have swing sets in their backyards. Write 6/10 as a decimal. Okay. Fractions and decimals can be used to show relationships between numbers. Okay, so this says write 6/10 as a decimal. Use the grid to help. So they drew the tenths, right? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, 10. They shaded 6. Here's the tenths part. 6/10. Remember how you write 1/10, 0.1. So 6/10 would be 0.6. Okay? So 0.6, 6/10 of the houses have swing sets. Now over here they're talking about hundredths. In the Kelsey Street neighborhood, 75 out of 100 houses are two-story homes, right? 75 1/100ths as a decimal. Use the grid to help. Well, here's 100. They colored in 75. Remember, 1/100th is 0.01. So that's two place values to the right of the decimal point. So this one, to write 0.75, two decimal places to the right, you would read that as 75 100ths, okay? 75 100ths of the houses are two-story homes. Okay, here's an interesting idea. Will the decimal models for 6/10ths and 60 100ths be the same or different? Use grids to explain. Well, these are both cut into 100 pieces, right? So 6 would be, this would be like 1/10, 2/10, 3/10, 4/10, 5/10, 6/10. So that could be 0.6, right? 6/10. If I didn't do all these crisscross lines, if I just did a slot, a slot, a slot, a slot, a slot, okay? This one, let's say it's in hundredths, right? It's in 100 pieces. Color in 6, same, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Color all these in, shade them all in. That would be 60 squares, right? 60 squares. 60 out of 100 would look like that. 60 1/100ths. This is 6/10ths. 60 100ths. These are equivalent. 0.6 and 0.60 mean the same thing. The picture looks different, but they're equivalent, okay? You can turn 6/10ths into 60 100ths just by adding a 0 to it. This is the same value. There's nothing really different in terms of the value, okay? It's just the 0 at the end. You can add zeros at the end all day long and it wouldn't change anything. It wouldn't change the value. Okay, let's take a look at some of these other ones. Show $2.31 using fractions and decimals. You can use diagrams to show how money relates to fractions and decimals. Well, $1, that's like 100, right? 100 cents. And a dime is like 10 cents. So a penny is 1/100th. Makes sense, doesn't it? So if I was to write a dollar, a dime, and a penny as money, wouldn't you write it like this? 1.11. Really, we'd be saying $1.11. Or you could say 1 and 11 hundredths. There's two place values to the right of the decimal. Okay, a dime is a tenth. If you colored 9 dimes in, that would be like 9/10. If I had all of those in pennies, it would be 90 100ths. This is like cents, right? 90 cents or 9/10. 90 100ths and 9/10 are equivalent. Okay, this one you got $1, $2, so that's like 200 cents, right? A tenth, and a tenth. 1/10, 2/10, 3/10. It's also 30 over 100, 30 hundredths. 3/10 would be written like this. 30 hundredths would be written like this. Okay? It's the same value though. And then we don't have, well, it looks like we have 1 penny there. So $2.31. $2.31. You could read that as 2 and 31 hundredths. Okay? This would be 2 and 3/10. Although 3/10, 3 out of 10, that's like 30 cents, isn't it? Because if I put a 0 there, it'd be 30 hundredths. 2 and 30 hundredths. Just showing you some different ways to think about this. How can you use grids to represent 4 and 71 hundredths or $4.71? Well, 4 holes, you would just have 4 whole things colored in. For 71, you'd have to do a grid like one of these guys down there because you'd need to have the hundredths. So you'd color in 71 of them. That's how you could use the grid. Okay, this one over here says, write a decimal and a fraction for the part of the grid that is shaded. Okay, well that's tenths. How many are shaded in? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 tenths. So here's the fraction, 5 tenths. Here's the decimal, 0.5, 5 tenths. If I drew a bunch more lines and I made this into hundredths and I put a 0 there, it would be 50 hundredths because there's 2 place values now. Are you starting to catch on? 1 place value is tenths, 2 place values hundredths. Write a decimal and a fraction for each. Okay, well this is in hundredths, so my fraction will be 100. There's 4 shaded, so 4 hundredths, and it's going to be 0.04. 4 hundredths. Here's the next one. There's a whole shaded in and then some more. So this would be 1 and something out of 100. That's 10, 20, 30, 40, 50, 1, 2, 3, 4, 54 hundredths. 1 and 54 hundredths. As a decimal, it would look like this. 1 and 54 hundredths. Okay. Number 5. This is out of 100 again. How many are shaded? 10, 20, 30, looks like 9. So 39 hundredths. As a decimal, 0.39. Okay, money problem. How much money? 10, 20, 21, 22, 23. Well, what's a dollar out of? A dollar is 100, so it'll be 23 hundredths. Or you could write it as 0.23. 23 cents, right? 23 hundredths. You guys already been doing this for so long, but you probably never thought about it this way, did you? So now you get it. Okay? Next is just more practice using those same ideas. So if you get stuck, you're not sure, please email me. All right. Good luck. See ya.